So, Namaskaram friends. In this video, I am going to talk about important news of 13th of May 2022. And today we are going to dealing with different topics. And while dealing with this different topics, I am trying to resolve as well as raise the question on that topic as well as resolve it. Raise it, that means I do not produce a new question. What types of problem are related in that arena and try to solve this problem on with the help of individual, with the help of society, with the help of community, with the help of state, nation, and also international. And on the whole, first one is natural, second one is man-made. So either problem is natural, either man-made. So we have to classify each natural, how we can you can solve the natural problem as well as man-made problem. Natural problem is not in our hand. We have to understand the natural problem, but solving the man-made problem is completely in our hand. Okay. So today's 5 important topic is first one is community forest resource right, CFRR, community forest resource right. Second one is Kangri Ghati National Park, okay, which is located in MP, and there are some beautiful things about this park. Next one is International Booker Prize. International Booker Prize, first Booker Prize in Indian language is got by Gitanjali Sri. So we are talking about this topic also. Fourth one is India's rich cultural heritage and art form. Okay, Prime Minister give 3 different art forms of India. First one is from Uttar Pradesh, second one from MP, and third one is from Gujarat to the president or head of state of the country of USA, Japan, and Australia. And fifth one is framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education to deal with the disabled people. So all these 5 topics are very important and very significant for the our journey of helping the people in the world. Okay, so they fall into different category, but in every category we try to understand its importance, its role, and how knowing this, understanding this, and solving the problem related to it or gaining the knowledge from that topic is very important. Okay, for example, when we talk about community forest resource right, so people living in the forest and produce forest, whatever produce in the forest. So which type of people have a right over it? Who the people who are living in that region or people of other part of the country, and how these land are distributed between tribal people, who help them, how the whole structure is going on. So in this manner, what is the role of the state, what is the role of center, what is the role of local community, and how we associate these resources to these people so that other people do not protest, and how this you can say implement this criteria in the whole world, in the whole nation, different country of the different nation. So in this manner, because forest is equivalent in the whole part of the world, not in one country. If we boundary is demarcated by us, so if we remove the boundary, then the whole world is connected. Reality is everything is connected with each other in terms of world, in terms of natural resources, everything is connected. For our administration purpose, for our, preserving the culture, or in some you can say small patches, we preserve something. For that manner, we demarcated boundary because so that no one interfere in that area. So we are talking about in detail what is the community forest resource right in terms of Kangra Ghati National Park, how National Park of India, National Park of other worlds are important for preservation of organism, for preservation of different biodiversity, preservation of trees, different types of flower, and how this help in the well-being of the community who are living in that region or other people who are going there for travel. Okay. Third one is International Booker Prize. Okay, that means this how people, you can say how this prize encourage people, or you can say people who doing their work in literature and in other poetry, small short story. This organization, this you can say non-profit organization, help them, or you can say give them some reward so that this process is going on and other people take help of read this book, take some knowledge from that book in their life, and live a good life on this planet Earth. Next one is uh, India's rich cultural and art forms. So we know that history of India is very old, and in India, history, art and culture, dance, music, drama, everything is prevalent on a large scale as well as in very much depth in terms of Vedas, in terms of Puranas, in terms of architecture, epics, books, dance, drama, music, everything is so old, so sophisticated, so complex, and so beautiful that in different parts of India, when you visit different parts of India, different types of languages, different types of their habit, food eating pattern, different types of cloth, different of songs, music, folk art, different drama. That means a whole India is like a mini world. So colorful, so beautiful, so diverse that in every part of the year you see different of art, craft, different types of architecture, their food habit in terms of their clothes, in terms of their behavior, in terms of their thinking, everything is so diverse and so beautiful. So in this manner, we are going to understand this topic. And next one is framework of in framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. That means how we provide inclusive education as well as reasonable accommodation so that people of disabled category group or differently able group take benefit of it and enhance their life. And it is very important. It is very important because nowadays many people do not pay their attention in this area to help differently able people because in day-to-day life they suffer a lot in many areas. Just remember yourself, you have a good health, you have a good, you can say, money and power and resources. You so that you live in the world in a good manner. But people who have no hand, for example, people who have no uh, leg, they suffer from different disability, like they some have no eyes, some have problem in hearing, some have problem in speaking. So they suffer very lot in day-to-day life. Wherever they go, one in the whole machine, one part is missing. So they suffer a lot. So we try to solve their try to reduce their suffer of day-to-day basis and try to solve their problem. Okay. So now we want to solving or understanding this topic in very much depth, in very much detail, and on each and every topic we are trying to solve one question. Okay, so just take today's topic. First topic is community forest. Here, this one, community forest resource right. Okay, community forest resource right. Just a minute. So the community forest resource right. The community forest resource right under section 31I. Remember, section 31I of the scheduled tribe. You can scheduled tribe and other traditional forest dweller, recognition of forest right act. The name of that is scheduled tribe, that is people of scheduled tribe, and other traditional forest dweller, people other than the scheduled tribe people who are traditionally living in this forest. So the name of the act is scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers. Recognition of forest right act. Recognition of forest means we recognize the forest right for these people. Commonly referred as a forest right act or FRA. So this act in simple form we call it as a forest right act or FRA, or you can say scheduled tribe and other traditional forest dweller recognition of forest right act. So in this act, the FRA or forest right act, section 31I. Okay, section 31I. Under the section 31I, this section provides the recognition of right to protect, regenerate, conserve, and manage the community forest resource. Okay. So the community forest resource right under this section of this act, provide the recognition of the right. This act under the section 31J provide the recognition of the right to protect, regenerate, conserve, and manage the community forest resource. Okay. So to these people, this section of this act provide the protection, regeneration, conservation, as well as manage of the community forest resource. Okay. So first option is talk about this. Now move on to the next option. Second one is these rights allows the community. These rights allow the community to formulate rules for forest use by itself and others. These rights, forest right, allow the community to formulate rule for forest use by itself and others, and thereby discharge its responsibility under section 5 of the FRA. So under the section 5 of the FRA, this act allow the community, forest right act allow the community to formulate rules for forest use, how they use their forest. So they first formulate rule to forest use by either itself or others, and thereby discharge its responsibility under Section 5 of the FRAAIE. Okay. So this act allow the community to formulate rule how they manage the forest either by itself or by the other, and discharge their responsibility as under Section 5 of the FRAAIE Act. Okay. Next one is CFR right, community forest resource or community forest resource right, along with community right. CFR right along with CR right under section 31B and 31C, which include Nistar right. Nistar right means if government said to the community that leave that land for other purposes, so government take compensation on behalf of that land. So that is called Nistar right. And rights over non-timber forest product. Okay. First one is timber rights over non-timber. That means forest produce which are not much related with non-timber. Ensures sustainable livelihood of the community. So this point take over CFR right, community forest resource right, along with community right under section 31B and 31C, which include Nistar right as well as right over non-forest produce, ensures sustainable livelihood of the community. That means CFR right as well as CR right along with under section 31B and under section 31C. Under section 31B, CFR rights, and under 31C of CR community reserve right, which include Nistar right as well as right over non-timber produce. That means section 31B related with Nistar right and section 31C related with non-timber forest produce, ensures sustainable livelihood of the community. Okay. So very simple. CR right, CFR right along with CR right under section 31B and section 31C, which include Nistar right as well as non-timber forest produce right, ensure the community of a ensure sustainable livelihood and livelihood of the community. That's it. Okay. So next one is these rights give the authority to the Gram Sabha. These rights give the authority to the Gram Sabha to adopt local traditional practices of forest conservation and management within the community forest resource boundary. So this right give authority to Gram Sabha of that area to adopt local traditional practices, so that they adopt local traditional practice of forest conservation and management within the community forest resource boundary. So whatever the boundary of a community forest resource, this one. So Gram Sabha have the authority to adopt traditional practices to preserve and manage the forest produce in this community forest resource boundary. Okay, so this point we talk about this. Second question is why is the recognition of CFR right important? Why this recognition of this right is important? So it's a very important document related to this. It is important as it recognize the community right to use, manage, and conserve forest resources. It is important because it recognizes the community's right to use, manage, and conserve forest resources, and it legally holds forest lands that these community have used for cultivation and residence. So this right, this CFR right, give them, you can say, a recognition, give them recognition to the community to right to use, manage, and the conserve forest resources, and to legally hold forest land. That means use, manage, and conserve forest as well as legally hold forest land, and this community have used that this community used for the cultivation and residence. Okay, so if this community use the land for cultivation as well as for residence, so this act provide a legal hold forest land, legally hold forest land. That means in a law it is provided that you can hold this land legally and cultivate and reside on it, as well as this right of this act also provide community right to use, manage, and conserve the forest resource. Use the forest resource, manage the forest resource, as well as conserve the forest resource. Second topic is it is also underlined the integral role of the forest dweller play in the sustainability of the forest and in the preservation of biodiversity. And this act also show you that how the traditional practices of the community living in the forest and their you can say how they preserve and manage this forest are very much integrally related to in their day-to-day life. So it underlines the integral role that forest dwellers play. Integral role played by the forest dwellers in sustainability of the forest and conservation of biodiversity. While adopting their practices are in a sync with conservation of biodiversity as well as sustainability of the forest. And what is needed nowadays, problem like you can say carbon emission, greenhouse gas, climate change. So if these forest dwellers traditionally use their practice to conserve the biodiversity as well as sustain, as well as you can say sustainability of adopt the practice of sustainability of the forest. So it is very much good. On the one hand, we give them right to use, manage, and conserve the forest. On the other hand, while the practicing those practices, these practices are very much in sync with conservation of the biodiversity as well as sustainability of the forest. Okay. Next point is Simlipal National Park. Is in Odisha. A national park called Simlipal National Park, which is in Odisha, is the first national park. This is the first national park to recognize community forest resource right. So this is the first national park which recognize the CFR rights. CFR rights. There are many other parks, but only one national park is the first park which recognizes the CFR right. And we know that why this right is important. Okay. For the protection or giving, you can say, legal right to the community which are living in the forest, as well as many sections. Section 31B, Section 31C, Section 5, Section 31I provide different you can say mechanism to deal with the forest. Okay. So now we are going to solve one question of community forest resource right, or you can say CFRR. So first option is the community forest resource rights CFRR are recognized under, because this right or recognized under scheduled tribe and other traditional forest dweller recognition of forest areas. This right are recognized under FRAAIE. In the first you can say bullet point we read that CFR right under section 31J of the FRAAIE provide the community to use, manage, and what can I say? Use, manage, and use it, manage it, and I don't remember anything. Use, manage, and just a minute. What is it? And regenerate. Protect, regenerate, conserve, and manage. Okay. Protect, regenerate, conserve, and manage the forest produce. So this act provides. So this one is true. Okay. Next one is it recognizes community right to use, manage, and conserve forest produce. Yes, what I am talking about. It recognizes community right to use, manage, conserve the forest produce, forest resource. So this one is correct. Next, third one is Simlipal National Park in Odisha is the first national park to recognize FRR resource act. Yes. Recognize community FRR. So this one is also correct. CFR. So option is 1, 2, 3 all are correct. That means option is D. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option, what is happening? So option D. That means we are on the right path. Just move on to the second topic called Ghati National Park. Ghati National Park. So Chattisgarh recognized nearly 4,000 community forest resource right CFR right in the state. So Chattisgarh has recognized nearly 4,000 CFR rights in the state. And Ghati National Park, which is in MP, is the second national park after Simlipal in Odisha, where CFR rights have been recognized. So we know that in Simlipal in Odisha, Simlipal National Park of Odisha is the first national park in which CFR rights are recognized. So Ghati National Park, which is I think not in MP, I think it is in Chhattisgarh. The second national park, Ghati National Park in Chhattisgarh, is second national park which recognizes CFR right in the state, and nearly 4,000 CFR rights are recognized in the Chhattisgarh. Okay, so this one is not MP. This one is Chhattisgarh. Okay. So now just solve a small question on it. Ghati. This question is Ghati National Park is recently seen in news is located in, very simple. It is in Chhattisgarh, and why it is in news? Because it become the second national park to give CFR right to the local community which are living in the forest. So option is B. Oh, it's not working. Option is B. Okay, that means we are on the right path. Now let's move on to the next question. Next question is International Booker Prize. Okay, so Gitanjali 3 got this award in International Booker Prize arena. So author Gitanjali 3 translated Hindi novel Tom of Sand become the first Indian language book to win the International Booker Prize. So name of Reet Ki Samadhi. What is the name of this book? Is in Hindi is Reet Ki Samadhi. Its English translation is called Tom of Sand. So Gitanjali Sri translated Hindi novel Tom of Sand. We translated this Hindi novel into Tom of Sand, and it became the first Indian language book, because we converted the language of Hindi novel into English. So this is the first Indian language book to win the International Booker Prize. Okay? The prize is one of the two literary awards. This one is the one of the two literary awards given out annually. It means every year by the Booker Prize Foundation, a foundation called Booker Prize Foundation. This foundation gives this award. A charity which started aim to International Booker Prize is a charity. Its aim is to promote the art and value of literature for the public benefit. This organization promotes the art as well as the value of literature for the public benefit. So the award together honors fiction on global basis. This award honors fiction on global basis, whether that work was originally written in English or translated into English. So this award together honors fiction on a global basis. This award honors fiction on a global basis. Either it is originally written in English, it is originally written in English, that prize is called Booker Prize. And if it translated into English, any language, we translate that language into English of that novel or short story, we call it an International Booker Prize. Okay, so Booker Prize for original in English and International Booker Prize translated in English. Next one is the Booker Prize is one of the best known literary awards. Booker Prize is one of the best known literary awards for fiction writing in English, including both novel and collection of short stories. So fiction writing in English, this Booker Prize is one of the best award in fiction writing in English, and this fiction writing is either collection of short story or novel. Okay. It was first awarded in 1969. This Booker Prize award is first awarded in 1969, and the International Booker Prize means if any literary work converted into English, translated of that literary work converted in English, this award is first began in 2005. Booker Prize in 1969, but International Booker Prize in 2005. And a biennial prize, initially it is a biennial prize, that means once a 2 years. It was then awarded for a body of work available in English, including translation. Initially it is a biennial prize. It was awarded for a body of work which are available in English or including its translation. Okay, that means it's English version and translation of that, translation of other work in English. But in 2015, the rules of international prize changed. In 2015, the rule changed to make it an annual affair. Initially, it is a biennial, but in 2015, it became an annual affair. And the new rules stipulated that it will be awarded annually for a single book written in another language and translated into English. So it is talked about for these all three top points of the International Booker Prize. Okay. So initially in 2005, it is a biennial prize and awarded for a body of work available in English as well as including its translation. That means you can translate any other language into English. So initially it is either available in English or its translation. So this biennial prize is awarded to them. But in 2015, its rule changed and it make an annual affair, and also the new rules stipulated that it will awarded annually for a single book written in another language and translated in English. Not available in English, but written in another language and translated into English. Earlier it is for both translated as well as available in English, but after rule change, it is for one book which is written in another language and translated into English, and it become an annual affair. Okay, so remember Gitanjali Sri, Tom of Sand, first Indian language book which got International Booker Prize, and other rule changes. It first given in 1969, later in 2005 we gave another award, International Booker Prize. In 2015, its rule changed and it become an annual affair, and also give to one, you can say, single book which translated from any other language to English. So these are important points. Now go to solve. We are going to solve one question on it. So consider the following statement regarding International Booker Prize. So the Booker Prize is one of the literary awards for fiction writing in English, including both novels and collection of short stories. Booker Prize, not International Booker Prize. It talked about Booker Prize. So Booker Prize is one of the literary award. Yes, for fiction writing in English. Yes, for both novels and short stories. Yes, completely true. Second one is it awarded only those work originally written in English. Talk about International Booker Prize. No, International Booker Prize awarded for originally written in English as well as any other language translated into English. But after the rule change, it is awarded to a single book which is not originally written in English but written in another language and translated into English. For originally written language, it is a Booker Prize, not International Booker Prize. So this one is wrong. Till now, no Indian writer has won the International Booker Prize. Gitanjali Sri won. So this one is also wrong. So option is 1. That means option is B. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option B. So we are on the right path. Okay. Now move on to the next topic called India's rich cultural heritage and art form. Why this topic is unique? Because Prime Minister Modi give to the 3 head of state of USA as Japan and Australia, and they are going for a Quad meeting. Okay. So as Prime Minister Narendra Modi traveled to Tokyo to attend the Quad summit, he carried with him gifts for leaders of the USA, Australia, and Japan, showcasing India's rich cultural heritage and art form. So first one is Sanji Art Panel for US President Joe Biden. So Prime Minister gives this gift Sanji Art Panel to the US President. So what is this Sanji Art Panel? So the traditional art form that originated out of the cult of Krishna. So it is a traditional art form originated from the cult of Krishna, involved creating stencils. Okay, stencils, that means an image of related to the life of Krishna. They create stencils like diagram of the life of the Krishna, and after that, after making that diagram, they cut that diagram on a thin paper. Okay, and that is called Sanji art. So they creating first create stencils based on incident from the life of the deity and hand cutting this on thin sheets of paper using scissors. So first they make stencils, that means images, or you can say uh, stories from the life of Krishna. They first make stencils and on a thin paper they cut these stencils. So this is called a Sanji art form. It looked like this. Just pick this picture. They first make stencils and then cut these stencils on a thin paper. Okay, and after this one is or any one, and after cutting on thin paper, it looks like this. Okay, so this is a Sanji art. In the form of painting, Sanji was popularized in 15th and 16th century. In the form earlier it is on the paper cutting form, but in the form of painting, this Sanji was popularized in 15th and 16th century by the Vaishnava temple and was practiced by Brahmin priests. So in Vaishnava temple, Brahmin priests practiced the painting of Sanji art in 15th and 16th century. 15th and 16th century. Next topic is during the Mughal period. During the Mughal period, contemporary themes were added. As Mughal period passes on, contemporary themes are added in the Sanji art, and several families have continued the practice of the form to this day. So many families are continue the practice of making Sanji art with contemporary inclusion of Mughal art in it. During the 2010 Commonwealth Games, in 2010 Commonwealth Games is happening in India. So the pictographs were inspired by the traditional Sanji art. So in that game, pictographs are very much inspired from the traditional Sanji art. So you can see the Sanji art form, this Sanji art, and it looks like this. And also this is a picture of Sanji art, okay, where a thin cutting painting of temple and tree near around is look in this picture. Okay, second one is gold art painting for Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Okay, so Sanji art for US President and gold art practice for Australian PM Anthony Albanese. So, Gond art painting, a form of painting practiced by one of the largest tribal group in India. Gond community is one of the largest tribal group in India in Madhya Pradesh. So, in Madhya Pradesh, Gond community is one of the largest tribal group in India. Remember it. This group practice this Gond art form practice. Okay? The dotted patterns jagged patterns, dots, waves, and squiggles told the tale of their god and goddesses. So in this painting, through dotted pattern, put a dot on it. Remember this one dot, jagged pattern like that means this type of pattern, sharp pattern on sharp pattern like knife, and this one dots on different point, waves like this one, and it's clear that means wavy lines here and there tell that their god story of their god and goddesses, as well as the flora and fauna of the deep forest in Madhya Pradesh. Flora and fauna of the deep forest in Madhya Pradesh. So in Madhya Pradesh, flora and fauna of, that in the forest of MP, in the forest of deep forest of MP, different of flora and fauna is happening. Different types of flora and fauna is growing. So in this painting, they tell the story of their god and goddesses, as well as the natural beauty of the deep forest of MP. And they made this painting with the help of dotted line, squiggles, jagged pattern, dots, and waves. So this picture of beautiful image of a moon art forms. Okay, a nature, you can say a natural fish as well as a bird. So natural beauty and a tree. This one is also a picture of moon art painting. So Prime Minister gives this painting to Australia Prime Minister Antino something. I'm sorry, Anthony Albanese. Next one is wooden hand carved box with Rogan painting for Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. So Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, Prime Minister gave wooden hand carved box, a box of wooden, and it is hand carved design on it with a Rogan painting, and that box is painted with a Rogan. What is Rogan? Rogan basically is a varnish or oil. Okay, we use this on wooden, you can say structure, our doors or in our walls or on different art craft or on a sofa to make them shiny and beautiful. So Rogan is a form of cloth painting. Rogan is a form of cloth painting that is considered to be more than 4th century old. It is a cloth painting more than 4th century old and is primarily practiced in Kutch district of Gujarat. So in the Kutch district of Gujarat, Rogan painting, which is a cloth painting, is practiced. People practice this painting from nearly 400 years, 4th century old. So the word Rogan comes from Persian meaning varnish or oil. Okay, this is a Persian word. The craft uses paint made from boiled oil and vegetable dye. So people who use wooden handcraft box, they use paint made from boiled oil as well as vegetable dyes. While originally only men used to practice this art form, now several women in Gujarat also pursue it. So originally men practice it, Rogan painting, but now a large number of women is also practicing it. So Rogan, basically a Persian word for oil as well as varnish, and handmade, what is wooden hand carved box. In this wooden hand carved box, which are practiced in the Kutch district of Gujarat, people use boiled oil as well as vegetable dyes to paint this box. So in this picture you can clearly see this is a box. You can say a wooden hand carved box with Roman painting on it, made in 4th century old practice in the Kutch district of Gujarat. So to Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida or Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives this gift to. So first one is Sanji art from UP, Krishna cult, Gund art painting, stories of their god and goddesses, as well as deep forest flora as well as fauna. And this one is hand carved, handmade, wooden handmade box with Rogan painting from Gujarat. Okay. So now let's solve one question on it. Understand what is it? Consider the following pair of the Indian traditional art and state it is mainly associated with. So Indian traditional art, just like Sanji from UP, Gond from Maharashtra, Gond painting from Maharashtra, and Rogan painting from Gujarat. So in this manner, there are many art forms which are prevalent in the whole part of India. So we try to solve one question and match state as well as important paintings or art forms of different states. So first one is Sanji art. Yes, Uttar Pradesh, you know about it. Prime Minister give this gift to the President of USA. Gold art painting, Madhya Pradesh, yes. This one is also correct. Rogan painting, Rajasthan, no, Gujarat. So option 1 and 2, 3 one is wrong. That means option B is correct. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option, just a minute. Option B. That means we are on the right path. Now let's solve another topic or understand another topic called framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. Framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. So the reasonable accommodation is essential. Reasonable accommodation is essential to ensure the full and effective participation of person with disability in a society. So in a society, if person is suffering from disability, so this reasonable accommodation is essential to ensure full and effective participation of this guy. So basically, reasonable accommodation ensure full and effective participation of differently able people in the society. Okay, and it is essential. It is very much essential to ensure these things is happening in society. On inclusive education, this one is reasonable accommodation. On inclusive education, the court held that rights of person with disability Act 2016. In 2016, we made a right of person with disability, recognizes the principle of inclusive education for children and adults with disability. So this act recognizes the principle of inclusive education for children and adults with disability. So inclusive education, as per the right of person with disability 2016, recognizes the principle of inclusive education for children and adults with disability. Among the measures that the Act outlines, the duty to make suitable modification in examination system inter alia through the grant extra time. So among the measures that the Act outlines, there are one thing is that it is a duty to make suitable modification in examination system inter alia through the grant of extra time, because disabled people suffer from different types of problem. So it is the duty, it is in the act, it is amongst the other things, it is provided that duty to make suitable modification in examination system. Whatever types of examination system is going on. So for disabled people, we make you can say modification in the examination system inter alia, giving them some extra time in the examination. Okay, so that in a good, you can say in a proper manner, using their knowledge, and while you can say do not much consider their disability, they tackle the examination in a good manner. So now we are going to solve one question on it. Consider the following statement regarding framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. Framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. So reasonable accommodation is essential to ensure the full and effective participation of the person with disability in a society. Yes. For the reasonable accommodation is essential to ensure the full and effective participation of the disabled people in the society. This one is correct. Right of person with disability of Act 2060 RPW recognize the principle of inclusive education for children and adults with disability. Yes, this act recognizes the principle of inclusive education for children and adults. Okay, so this one is also correct. Okay, so now just check option which of the following is incorrect. Both are correct, so neither one and neither two. No one is incorrect. That means option is D. Just a minute. So D. That means we are on the right path. So we solved 5 questions on today's topic. I just summarized the whole thing in a, you can say, small form, so that at the end, by just, you can say, seeing these things, you understand very clearly the whole concept of it. Okay, just a minute. Yes, so 5 important topics today when we understand the topics. First one is related with uh, forest right resource, community forest right resource. Okay. Second one is related with Kangri, Ghati National Park. Third one is related with India's rich art, rich culture and art forms. Fourth one is related with, I think this one is fourth one. Third one is related with International Booker Prize. And fifth one is related with reasonable accommodation and reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. Framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. So what this basically everything is. So first one is FR, CFR, community forest resource, community forest resource. Right now, community forest resource right. So under Forest Right Act, it is provided that community have the right to manage, protect, and conserve the forest. Okay, Gram Sabha have given some authority to make rules for conservation and preservation of these forests. Okay, and this is essential so that they have legal right for the land on which they you can say live as well as produce their food from it. And under section 31J, Forest Right Act give them the authority to manage, accommodate, and produce the forest. Under section 5, it is the under section 5, it is I think just a minute. I think under section 5, some also provision given to the people of this community to how they uh, protect these rights. Under section 31A and 31B, where Nistar right as well as non-forest timber produce rights are associated. So related to this right related to right of Nistar as well as non-forest produce, section 31A and section 31B give this community a special privilege. Okay. So in a very brief, this is the CFR. Second one is related with Kangri Ghati National Park. So this is located in Chattisgarh and become a second national park which recognize CFR right in this national park. First one is Odisha's Simlipal National Park. And in Chhattisgarh, more than 4,000 community forest right act is granted to the different tribal groups. Okay. Next one is third one is I think International Booker Prize. Okay. So Gitanjali Sri of India, Gitanjali Sri of India got this International Booker Prize, and for his novel Ret Ki Samaji, which is originally written in Hindi but translated into English of Tome of Sand. So International Booker Prize is basically given to for the books. Initially it is a Booker Prize in 1969. It is started by an organization called Booker Prize Foundation. Started this prize to, so you can say, encourage people to write, to encourage people for literature and English writing. And in 1969 they give awarded the first award, but later on, and it is for, you can say, work or novel or short stories written originally in English, but later on in 2015, and this is called Booker Prize. But in 2015, they come up with a new concept called International Booker Prize, in which they gave award to the language of English as well as for translated into English. In 2015, one more amendment is happening in their rules, and in this they say that it is this International Booker Prize is a biannual prize, but it becomes annual as well as it is given to one book which is written in any another language and translated into English. So earlier it is a biennial, but in 2015 it become annual, and it is given to only one book which is written in another language and translated into English. So this one is called International Booker Prize, which one is written in any another language translated into English, and which one is originally written in English is called Booker Prize. Okay, so a small knowledge about it. Just a minute, I think. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Fourth one is reasonable accommodation for but India's rich heritage section. Fourth one is India's rich heritage and art form. So Prime Minister of India give Sanchi art to US President, Gond art to Australia President or Prime Minister, and Sanchi Gond and then Rogan painting to Japan, Fumio Kishida. So this one is practice. This is art form of Uttar Pradesh, practiced by the Krishna cult, and in which he made first you can say stencils and then cut this stencil on thin paper. It is practiced in a Vaishnav temple. Painting of the Sanji art is practiced in a Vaishnav temple by Brahmin priests in 15th and 16th centuries. As times going on, some Mughal art form is also accepted in this form, and till now people practice this art form. Okay. Next one is called Gond art painting. It is practiced by the largest tribal community of Madhya Pradesh called Gond community, and they practice this painting to showcase the god and goddesses of their region as well as natural flora and fauna of the forest. And gold art painting, yes, this one is. Next one is Gujarat Rogan painting. So it is basically a painting which uses boiled oil as well as vegetable dyes to paint the wooden handmade box. And this is practiced in the Kutch region of Gujarat from the Kutch region of Gujarat, and it is a 4th century old painting. Rogan means basically Rogan is basically a varnish or oil. So this one is an important point about it. And I think last one is accommodation. Last one. And last one is reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. Framework of reasonable accommodation and inclusive education. So reasonable accommodation is essential to ensure the participation of society. Okay, and inclusive education in the Person with Disability Act 2016 makes sure that child as well as adult have inclusive education process so that they got education in the institution, as well as this act also among the other process, this can also you can say direct the educational institution to make the examination system, make some modification in examination system so that these differently able people have some you can say suitability in it, as well as grant some extra time in the examination. So this is basically related with person with disability. So this is a very small video, not very small, a 30 to 40-minute video on 5 different issues. So I hope you love this lecture and enjoy this lecture and gain some perspective from it. So namaskaram, thank you.